Some of you have enemies, and you don't need to attack them. You just need to wait, and they'll self-destruct. I've been in the fight 30 years, and I don't wish ill for anyone. I really want everybody to love Jesus and be blessed. I mean, that would be great, but that's not what everybody wants. And sometimes there are people, they attack you, they fight you, they criticize you, they malign you, they hurt you and those you love. And your first thought is, I need to destroy you. I need to defend myself and my family. And the issue is, well, just wait. Because if you attack them, then you're going to be seen as the one who is unloving and unkind and a bully. And you could escalate the violence because vengeance just continues to escalate. If you do nothing, God could send them a spirit of confusion and they'll self-destruct. I've seen this over and over in my life. It's the craziest thing. I've seen people completely shipwreck their whole life. And we didn't say or do anything. We didn't want that for them. But if you're going to go against the Lord, eventually you're going to self-destruct. Okay? And so in addition, what we see here, they do defeat their foes. God's good for his promise. And then they hunt down those who are fleeing. And then they grab the two princes, they kill them, and their names are a bit prophetic and pathetic. Oreb means raven or unclean, and Zeb means a wolf or vicious enemy. And they behead the two guys, and they bring their heads back to Gideon. These are the parts of the Bible that not a lot of teaching happens around. You're like, yeah, I didn't see the beheading veggie tail. I missed that. We had the flannel graph in the Baptist church, and that would have been a great Halloween story, And here's why we go through the Bible, because we want to know the fullness of who God is and what God does and what God says. And we live in this day when we just cherry pick the nice parts. We just turn God into the world's sweetest therapist who's just always trying to build up our self-esteem instead of the Lord of the universe, who's holy and deserves honor. And if you cross him, you're going to hurt yourself. Right? And so there's a sobriety here. And what I love is that they die for their sin, and I love that Jesus died for my sin. And I love is they're getting justice. I love the fact that Jesus got justice for me. It makes me all the more grateful for Jesus. A couple of things I want you to know, friends. Number one, faith always defeats fear. See, Gideon and his men had faith, the Midianites had fear. Faith always defeats fear. In addition, worship is part of spiritual warfare. This is a spiritual war between God and Satan. It's playing out in the physical, but it is in fact originating in the spiritual. A war is not against flesh and blood, but powers, principalities, and spirits, the Apostle Paul says in Ephesians 6. And what we see here is they aren't warring, they're worshiping. They're worshiping, and they let God do the warring. And sometimes you don't need to engage your enemy. Sometimes you need to ignore your enemy and engage your God. See, when someone attacks you, they fight with you, they malign you, the first instinct is to fight back. I'm a counterpuncher by nature. But if you're responding to them, you're not responding to him. That means you've now allowed them to be your Lord. They are now in dominion over you. And so when they attack you, don't engage them, ignore them, engage him. Lord, what do you want me to say? What do you want me to do? And I'm going to worship and wait, and I'm going to let you go to war. And so as they're worshiping, God is warring. And oftentimes in our life, especially those of us who are a little foot forward and we don't mind the conflict, it's like, well, somebody needs to do something. God's like, I know. So you worship me and watch me go to war. And so when we worship, you need to know that it is an act of spiritual warfare. And it is surrendering to God and then trusting God to go defeat enemies, physical and spiritual.
Howdy, Pastor Mark here. Thanks for viewing the clip. And if you'd like the entire sermon, we've got it ready to go.